Hello and welcome. In this video, we're going to turn a NotebookLM notebook into a 5-day challenge. Assuming that the content in your NotebookLM notebook is content that your customer already has and is familiar with, we're going to upload it to a NotebookLM notebook to get them immersed in the content. Whether it's in a purchase or by membership, you want to share your notebook. And you want to share it to anyone with a link if you're going to be selling one to many. If you're going to be selling one to a few, you're going to restrict the individuals and you're going to put their name and email address here inside of the share box. Now you can go through the process where you're going to copy the link to the chat view and share it. However, this process will typically not stay private. You want to assume that the customer will be able to go into the notebook and see all your sources as well as any studio assets that you have created. You'll want to come into Gemini and you'll want to describe your challenge. What you're going to do is you're going to add in your NotebookLM notebook that they're going to be attaching and that you're going to be giving your customer access to. So in this case, we're going to attach this notebook. You then want to describe the 5-day challenge. What we basically want to do is we want to make sure that the customers engage with our product and benefiting themselves. First, what we're going to do is we're going to design the gem that they're going to use. The goal in this case is to make sure that the customer does not just generate, but to think and interact with the gem. So we have the final prompt. We're now going to click enter so that we could design the gem. And so the prompt should be provided to us by Gemini for us to test the prompt in Gemini and then to pass the same prompt along to our customers to create their own gem to go through the challenge. So we're now going to test the gem. And what we're going to do here is first, we're going to export this prompt to our own Google Docs. When you're creating your own and testing the gem, you will not take the entire document. You're going to take everything up until this point. So we're going to copy all of this and we're going to head to Gemini Gems. We're going to go into the gems. We are then going to click on New Gem. We're then going to paste in our instructions. We're then going to give our gem a name. Now again, we're just testing this gem. We're going to actually give our customer the entire recipe for this specific gem. You don't have to use a default tool. In this case, if you're going to use a default tool, you could use guided learning, but that's not required for this set of instructions. Now for the knowledge, you do want to attach your NotebookLM notebook. Now once you do this, this gem will not be shareable. And so that is why you're going to be sharing the notebook as well as the gem. But we're going to test our gem to make sure it works in the way that we want. So we're going to save the gem. We're then going to start the chat. Now, typically what you want to do is you want to make sure the instructions provide a prompt here, but we're going to test and act as if we are a customer. We're just going to ask the gem what it is we should do first. Now the gem is going to take time before it interacts with your NotebookLM notebook and scans the entire notebook of all of your sources and then produces some interaction. So you'll want to make sure that your customer understands this, that when they're using the gem, that even though it's going to take a while for the first interaction, that the system is actually working. And so even though it's not using guided learning, what you'll see here is that the gem is designed to walk them through a process. So they'll need to produce 5 different elements. And basically, they're going to produce one element for every day of the challenge. Now, this 5-day challenge is based on the customer producing one document for each part of the content that's inside of the notebook. You may not be using a marketing blueprint. Your blueprint could be an entirely different niche. What you must do is to ask Gemini to design the gem so that the customer must go through the information in your notebook. Once you have designed the gem and the gem is working properly, and you've verified that using this gem allows the customer to produce 5 different documents, you will now ask Gemini to design the experience in Google Classroom. So what we want to do now is we want Gemini to design the entire experience inside of Classroom. We want to make sure that Gemini knows that the point is for them to get the incentive and to learn the content inside of our NotebookLM notebook. We assume now that they've gone through the process of using the gem and they've been able to produce a document for each week, including week 5. We are now going to click submit. Now, once again, this 5-part challenge is based on the information in a specific NotebookLM notebook. You will ask Gemini to design a challenge based on the information in a specific notebook that you attach in an initial conversation. What you will then do with the answer to this prompt is that you will open up a screen inside of Google Classroom. Once we're inside of Google Classroom, we're going to create a class. We're going to make sure that Google knows that we're not going to be using education. We're going to give the class a name, and Google has given us the name. So we're just going to cut and paste the name. Now, once again, your challenge will be done in a totally different manner, and your challenge will be done in such a way that your title would be unique. We're going to click Create. Once you've done the initial setup, you can click on the Stream Settings. You can scroll up to the top. You're going to see that we have a description. We can copy and paste our description. And you can use some of the other categories in the way in which you want. And so we're going to use all of the other categories, even though our categories are not for school. Now, you may find other categories may work different, but you can use these categories to your benefit. We're now going to click Save. Gemini designed our challenge around topics. So we're going to click on Topic, and we're going to use the topics as given to us by Gemini. Now, we're not going to walk through each individual topic on screen. We're going to set up the topics, and we're going to come back when these topics are all set up. We're going to be cutting and pasting from Gemini. So our topics are now set up. What we now need to do is we need to create the actual assignments. So we're going to go into Create the Assignments, and we're going to start the process of cutting and pasting in for the assignments. In every case, we're going to fill out all of the aspects that Google Gemini is giving us for each one of these elements. When you're setting up assignments, you must place the assignment into the right topic. So in this case, we've set the topic correctly for the first assignment. As you complete elements, you can go to the right corner. You can click on Save Draft. And you'll see that first assignment here inside of topic 1, which is where it should be. Now, again, we're not going to walk through each and every one of these on screen. We're going to go ahead and set up the rest of the assignments. Now completed our work in Gemini, we're going to close out Gemini. We're just going to focus in on the Google Classroom that we have created. In order to communicate with the individuals that are part of the challenge, you can always use an announcement. To invite individuals to the challenge, you can use the invite link to invite individuals to the challenge. They are going to have to go through a confirmation process through their email or Gmail. There's a setting that will state that you will automatically grade missing assignments. You want to turn that off for the sake of this process, so we're not going to be doing that. You can make your challenge date related by going into this element and providing due dates for when you want the first portion done for the sake of the challenge. And of course, that will depend on how you want to actually run your challenge. If we come down into the Gemini Gem Manager, one of the things you'll notice is that we will not be able to share this gem with our NotebookLM notebook attached in order to give them access to the gem that we have already created. Another way to do it is to have your customer build their own gem by giving them the prompt that they need to put into their instructions, telling them that these are the instructions that are necessary to work with the NotebookLM notebook that you have shared with them in order to participate in the challenge. And if you are teaching a skill like Gemini Gems, this can be helpful to you. So what we are doing is we are sharing a NotebookLM notebook, giving them the ability to use that notebook in the creation of a gem. We want the customer to add the notebook to the knowledge area so you can give them the entire prompt in order to interact with your NotebookLM notebook. We then had Gemini map out our entire plan for a 5-day challenge. When we did that, we attached our NotebookLM notebook to Google Gemini so Gemini would know what it's designing for. The prompt we used was based on a 5-day challenge. Your challenge may be different, but the principles of getting Gemini to design the classroom are the same. We will use Google Classroom as a private area for students to prove that they went through our content and for us to give them an incentive based on their immersion and understanding of what we have given them. Each day has very simple criteria. And in most cases, if your customer is using AI in order to fulfill this, they will get the incentive with great ease. The key to the process is the gem that our customer is going to be going through. We have structured the gem so the customer will take all of the content in our NotebookLM notebook, structure it, and learn it so that they can actually produce something that will benefit them. And so we have turned our NotebookLM notebook into a 5-day challenge. Okay, so thanks, and I will see you in another video.